Let's go to the co-authors of the bill, Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy and South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator Graham, let's start with you. This bill is seen as the GOP's last attempt to get something done on health care before the September 30th deadline. Your good friend, Senator McCain, has said he won't vote for the bill. You have said the fight is not over, but how can you make this happen in the little time you have?
Well, number one, the only way you'll know how people vote is when you actually vote. We thought we had the votes last time, and we didn't. It's not about our friendship. I love John McCain. He's an American hero. He is my dear friend. I just disagree with him here. My state had a 31% premium increase under Obamacare. If we don't repeal and replace, it's a disaster for South Carolina and Arizona. John talks about a bipartisan process. I'm a pretty bipartisan guy, but I've come to conclude that Obamacare is a placeholder for Bernie care in the Democratic world. The best you could hope for is to prop up Obamacare because they're moving toward Bernie care. So there is no process. There's not a snowball's chance in Hillbend, Arizona, as John would say, that Chuck Schumer can deliver anything that would substantially change Obamacare. And if it doesn't substantially change, it's a disaster for the country.
But really, Senator Graham, is there a snowball's chance your bill will pass?
Yeah, there is. I think Maine, Susan Collins is a great senator. They get a 42% increase. The governor of Arizona has come out for this bill. Rand Paul objects to the taxes. But when you look at the bill, Rand, we save a lot of money over time for Medicaid. We put a cap on Obamacare growth. We make it more sustainable, more affordable, more flexible. So I think Senator Paul's associated health plan, married up with our bill, changes health care. So yes, we're moving forward, and we'll see what happens next week. I'm very excited about it. We finally found an alternative to Obamacare that makes sense. Take the money and power out of Washington, the same amount of money we'd have spent on Obamacare, and let states design systems, because if you keep replicating Obamacare, even at the state level, you're going to get the same outcome. Flexibility and innovation is what we're seeking.
Senator Cassidy, let's get down to this in a little more detail. Senator Graham mentioned Susan Collins. Susan Collins, whose vote you're trying to get, says she's reading the fine print and said it doesn't protect people with pre-existing conditions. You had the same argument from Jimmy Kimmel, as you know, because their premiums could be so high that it wouldn't be affordable. How is this someone who's going to come around?
One, that's absolutely incorrect. President Trump has said he will not sign a bill which does not protect those with pre-existing conditions. I'm a physician who worked in a public hospital for 25 years caring for those with pre-existing conditions. Our language says that if a state wishes to do something different, as they do something different, they must first establish that those with pre-existing conditions have access to affordable and adequate coverage. Two things more. Affordable, how do you define it, people ask? It means able to afford. Now contrast that with status quo. If you're not getting subsidies right now on the exchanges, your premiums with deductibles can be $30,000 to $45,000.
And how is that decided who can afford it? How is that decided? That's what is missing in the bill. What is adequate and affordable care? That's what people are complaining about. And
go ahead. If I may, what we have under status quo, a family with a child with pre-existing conditions is paying $32,000 a year. Now, that's not affordable. We're being compared to somebody with a premium plus deductible that is approaching $40,000. Now, if I were to say to you, Martha, I'm going to go buy a car that I can afford, you would have a good sense of what it is. So we give the states the latitude to establish. It may be that someone who's a millionaire would pay a little bit more, and someone who's lower income would pay a little less.
But do you really know this? Do you really know this? You don't have a full CBO report, and that's a complaint as well. How do you know?
If you're speaking of the language that it has to have access to adequate and affordable health care, that's not related to the CBO. That's contrasting with the status quo of the ACA, in which people are paying $30,000 to $40,000 for their annual
And yet you still have the vagueness of that. I want to go back to Senator Graham. There was quite an extraordinary statement from major physician hospital insurance groups yesterday, including the American Medical Association, Blue Cross Blue Shield. They say, while we sometimes disagree on important issues in healthcare, we are in total agreement that Americans deserve a stable healthcare market that provides access to high-quality care and affordable coverage for all. The Graham, Cassidy, Heller, Johnson bill does not move us closer to that goal. Quite an extraordinary statement.
Yeah, I think it's quite extraordinary to believe that the insurance companies who receive hundreds of billions of dollars of direct payment from the federal government would willingly allow that money to be given to state governments to design new and innovative systems. So the fact that insurance companies are objecting to the fact they no longer get direct payments from the federal government, the same amount of money goes to states to set up new healthcare systems that won't fail, doesn't surprise me. I would have been surprised if these people were for our bill, because we take money away from them, we give it to state governments to design systems that will deliver a better outcome. Let me just say this. If we move the money and power out of Washington and we don't allow flexibility, we require the states to do exactly what Obamacare is doing, how can you get a different result? This system is collapsing all over the place. The big winners are hospitals and people who get direct payments from the government. I want to take that block of money, give it to governors at the state level, and if you don't like what you get under Obamacare, who do you complain to? Under our bill, if you don't like the health care you're receiving, you can complain to your state house member, to your governor who cares about you because they want your vote. I asked a question.
Senator, if this fails, what will you tell people about your promise to repeal and replace Obamacare?
That's a great question. That I did everything I could to get money and power out of Washington, to give you better health care closer to where you live, and I'm not going to stop fighting. I'm on the budget committee. Ron Johnson's on the budget committee. We're not going to vote for a budget resolution that doesn't allow the health care debate to continue. I think we're going to get the votes next week. We're using the exact same process the Democrats did to pass Obamacare. They complain about a process they used. They're never going to give in to changing Obamacare. They're going to single-payer health care. There is no bipartisan solution to health care that fundamentally changes Obamacare because they're a stakeholder of single-payer health care. Here's what I'm telling Republicans and everybody in the middle.
Okay, we're going to have to speed this up,
it
Senator.
as they did to pass it. And the fight goes on. It's a fight worth having.
Okay, thanks very much to both of you.
Thank you.